Welcome to the History Desk Speaks. I'm Laura Crockett, and I'm here today to tell you about, well, I'm going to make a confession about an obsession. Are you ready for it? Don't tell anybody I told you, but I watch a lot of cop shows. Yeah, me. How did I get into this habit? Well, this passion, that's what I prefer to call it, began way back in my youth when we all go wrong, when I saw for the very first time Humphrey Bogart in The Big Sleep. I saw it in a movie theater in Long Beach, California, because I was in university down there. For a whopping 50 cents on every Friday night, this movie theater allowed you to come in and sit down and watch a movie classic. And what a classic that movie is. Of course, this is when I had begun my official studies in history and mythology in the university. And so, of course, I took a history of film class. And wow, the things I saw. Not only did I see The Big Sleep at the theater and again in the class, I saw another couple of classic film noirs. One was Dashiell Hammett's The Thin Man. What a delightful couple. And then I saw the movie that probably changed me internally than any other movie. It changed the way I looked at people. And that was Hammett's The Maltese Falcon. The Maltese Falcon is one of my favorites for the very same reason I love all stories about murder. It presents the underbelly of the human condition, and you will find this underbelly exposed in all classes of people throughout the entire world for all time. From the raving maniac on the streets today with knives and they slash up people, to the millionaire who kills. Murder happens. It is why it happens that I'm fascinated with, and my theory is it happens for reasons of revenge. Reading Agatha Christie, another one I got into, alongside Chandler and Hammett, has given me insight into the human weakness for revenge. I am convinced that even a drug-crazed feral human who stabs people on the metro, that person seeks revenge. Writers of these genres conjure up cops who look for motive. Who or what set the perp off to seek his revenge by killing another human being? Was it a fantasy in the killer's head that he perceived that someone done him wrong? Or did someone actually do them wrong? Is murder simply payback time? All these fascinating stories about this proclivity to revenge themselves truly engage us. That's why we watch so many cop shows. In some way, we connect. Now, here's my second confession. I no longer watch American cop shows. Ever since that wonderful thing called streaming TV was invented and brought to us, well, it opened up the world of any type of shows to us, cop shows included. All these cop show series in all these countries around the world. Well, I was the proverbial child in a toy store. After watching 13 seasons, all 70 episodes of the David Suchet production of Poirot, and watching it a second time during the lockdowns, watching all 8 seasons of Perry Mason, well, I went looking around surfing channels for something else to watch. That's when I turned on to PBS and found Spiral. Spiral is a French cop show that uses the street language of Paris that no French teacher ever teaches us. Those Paris police remind me plenty of American cops. From Spiral, I learned something about the French legal system. They don't use district attorneys like we do, but a judge who tells them, hey, you don't got a case, or maybe you have a case, but I need more evidence. That makes Spiral a procedural drama, structured much like Law and Order. The crime in Paris is very much like the crime over in New York City. They have the same issues with drugs, gangs, illegal aliens, and an international black market that deals in people. That's called slavery. The next French show I got into was Balthazar on Acorn TV. It's a lovely show with an oh so handsome lead actor. The character himself is fascinating. He's a crack forensics pathologist who, guess what, talks to the dead. That's a rather useful knack to have. But wait, there are more ghost stories coming up. More surfing around prime time brought me to the MHZ channel. This is when I was introduced to a whole new world of cop shows. Not one is American or British. They are an international crop of shows, of series. Some of the titles, Paris Murders, The Bridge, Sheriff, Nero Wolfe, Babylon Berlin, Paris Police, 1905, The Red Door, Murder by the Lake, Professor T, a favorite, and for those animal lovers out there, Inspector Rex. Guess what? I found cop shows done in a vintage style, period pieces, lovely period pieces. Firstly, there's Paris Police, 1905, and The Prague Mysteries, which takes place during the 1920s. The best of the bunch is a superb Agatha Christie series done by the French. These are called The Little Murders of Agatha Christie. The first set of episodes is done in about the early 1950s in and around Paris. The second one is done around the 1960s. The two productions are truly engaging, and the humor is outstanding because it's very sophisticated. Well, nobody does sophisticated humor like the French. As for the production values, mwah! Over on PBS, I ran into another dreamboat in a period piece called Il Commissario Ricciardi. Il Commissario just means inspector. This takes place in Naples, Italy, around 1933. The fascists, of course, are running around all over Naples and giving people problems, but they don't bother the police much. Well, not yet. The Italian actor Lino Guanciale plays Ricciardi. He also plays Leonardo Cagliostro in the previously mentioned series The Red Door or La Porta Rossa. Lino plays two interesting characters, for Ricciardi sees the ghosts of the murder victims, and Leonardo is a ghost. He's been murdered by a fellow cop. He just doesn't know which one murdered him. How would you like it if you'd been murdered, but you can't go through the door and go to heaven because you've been tasked with finding your own murderer? Interesting problem, yes? From here. For the guys, a dreamboat of a woman is Lolita Basocco. Lolita, a very beautiful woman, is the top cop in the city of Bari in Italy. She is played by Luisa Ranieri. This is not one of those period pieces. I like it because of the geography lesson that it provides. Which brings me to one of the points of watching all these international shows. We learn stuff like no matter where you are on this planet, murder is murder in any language. Muerte, mord, homicidio, or vrajda. It's investigated by people we call cops who want to know who done it. It also gives us lessons in geography, languages, and cultural habits. For example, now I want to go to Bari in Italy. It's a small city with population of about 400,000. Bari is on the Adriatic Sea side of southern Italy, and it is full of old, lovely buildings. And it's close to the history of our civilization in the West, Greece and Anatolia or Turkey, plus those problem nations we call Eastern Europe. As for the languages, my ear is now very well acquainted with Italian, French, Danish, Swedish, German, and Czech. Yes, Czech. Now for some cultural stuff. In the series titled The Bridge, the Danes and their neighbors, the Swedes, explore the dark side of murder. Yeah, I know. Murder is already quite dark, but the Danes and the Swedes make it even darker. If that's possible, yes, it is. The Bridge is not a period piece, but it is an outstanding series that includes a Danish and Swedish detectives working together to bust the villains who are real, nasty serial killers. In all 4 seasons, the victims' deaths are creative but brutal, and I mean that. So I caution you, if you are a sensitive type, this series may not be for you. As for the Swedish top cop, Saga, she is a strange one with a childhood that is horrifying itself. Mixed together with her own creative thinking and her ability to trust her gut, she catches these dark villains. The French are charming, though they too have deep issues within their culture in this modern day world. That is manifest in the series Spiral. The Vintage series reminds us of a France that many of us knew in our youth and when we were adults. But the culture has changed since the influx of all of those migrants in the dawning of the 21st century. Of course, I wish for the old France to come back. Italians really do speak with their hands. They love expressing emotions. It's important to them to do that. When I think of a place to go and to get out of the progressively woke society many of us inhabit today, I think of Italy. Finally, after watching all these series, you begin to understand that murder has no language barriers. Well, let me put that to you like they would. Sannerlingen nåd hör inga sprechen varia. Nemmeno I poliziotti. Silinde allen hinter dem gleichen her. Qu'il a fait et pourquoi? Og often fangam vi dem. Na magie. Go ahead and view a few of these shows and let me know how you like them and whether or not you start dreaming in another language. This is the History Desk Speaks, signing off. Thanks for watching. See you next time.